Before getting my first pet reptile, I spent a very long time researching the pros and cons of each species before I ended up getting my first pet reptile. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you 5 pet reptiles you probably shouldn't get now and 5 easier alternatives. Let's get into it. At number 5 on my list, we have ball pythons. While they may be a very popular pet snake, they can grow to the lengths of 5 and even 6 feet long. Now, while this isn't typically very long as far as snakes go, they can get very thick as well. In addition to this, they also do tend to go off food for weeks and even months on end at times. This can be intimidating and can be mistaken for illnesses by people that haven't kept pet reptiles before. For our easier alternative, we have corn snakes. While they can grow to similar lengths, they typically don't get very thick at all, and they love their food. They'd eat all day if you let them, so there's definitely no need to worry about them going off food. For number 4 on my list, we have most species of turtles, including red-eared sliders and yellow-bellied sliders. While their diet is somewhat simple, they're going to need UV lighting to prevent metabolic bone disease, and they're also going to need a filtered water system for them to swim in. In addition to this, the filter and water system electronics, they must not be accessible for the turtle in any way. This can cause electrocution. Also, the water must be cleaned very regularly to prevent illness and disease. Easier alternative, we have tortoises, most species anyway, because while they will need a UV lighting to keep their bones and shell healthy, their diet is very simple generally. While some species of tortoise might need some protein and others might not, they're generally very simple to keep up with. In addition to this, they might need a larger enclosure, but it won't need any water that is swimming in. So generally very easy to keep clean, as long as you're cleaning out waste and spot cleaning. For number 3 on my list, we have crested geckos. While they can be quite easy to look after and are certainly a very popular pet gecko, they can dehydrate very easily and they're prone to overheating and getting too cold, because while they can't have too high a heat source, it's equally important that they don't get too cold during the winter months depending on where you live. It's very important to mist them daily, and if not twice daily, depending on the temperature of where you are, because they again are very prone to getting dehydrated very easily. As an alternative pet gecko, we have leopard geckos. While they will need a larger tank than crested geckos, which can definitely be more expensive to heat up, knowing that they already need a higher heat source than crested geckos, they are generally less prone to dehydration and are more resilient to temperature changes. With that said, the temperature should always remain as consistent as possible. At number 2 on my list, we have garter snakes. While they are generally quite simple to care for as pets, they can be quite shy around humans, and they have a very disgusting liquid that they spray on you if they're nervous. It's disgusting. In addition, they will generally benefit from having more than one garter snake in the enclosure. This is very rare for reptiles, but it will definitely boost their mood. And obviously, more snakes means a larger enclosure, which will be more expensive to heat up. On the other hand, a small snake that I would recommend are hognose snakes. While they aren't the most common, a lot is definitely known about them. They won't require too large of a tank, but they will need a moderate heat source, like most reptiles will anyway. On the downside, they do have a very moderate venom, and this venom is very rare, but it can definitely cause anaphylactic reactions, which is a life-threatening emergency. But this is very rare. But the more you're bit, you're more likely you are to develop this reaction. I definitely wouldn't recommend hognose snakes to someone that's had history of anaphylactic reactions. On the plus side, they're generally very cheap to keep when it comes to upfront cost, whereas the average morph can go for around £100. A lot of morphs can go for in the thousands, so they're very diverse. But if you get an average one, you'll averagely spend around £80 to £100 on an individual snake. For number 1 on my list, we have bearded dragons. Some of you might be surprised to hear this with how popular pets they are, arguably the most popular pet reptile in the trade. While they are very popular, they can definitely have some cons to them, such as they'll need remotely specific light requirements, And their diet isn't exactly simple either. They will need a variety of vegetables with some protein, a variety of bugs, variety of vegetables and things. So if you get it right and do your research, they can be easy pets. Whereas they will need quite a high heat source and a pretty large enclosure. Maybe around a 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot tank is sufficient. And while you can see some friendly bearded dragons, they aren't always the friendliest. I personally have one, and she's a little bit iffy right now with when it comes to handling, whereas we are working on getting her mood and temperament up. In fact, you can see her on some of my other videos. On the flip side, we have blue-tongued skinks. While they will have similar care requirements to bearded dragons, they can typically live a lot longer, sometimes even up to double the lifespan of a bearded dragon, and their temperament is generally very friendly. They've been likened to as potatoes with arms and legs. Their diet can be quite strange, but not too complex. They eat eggs and bugs and things, but bugs aren't always necessary, which is another reason why I would recommend them to people that don't really want to feed bugs to a lizard. Blue-tongued skinks can also eat dog and cat food if it's high quality. Very strange, I know, but it's actually something that they do make a habit of eating. I hope you enjoyed this video and find it useful, and please remember to do as much research possible before buying any pet reptile or even its enclosure. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day. See you later.